Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars and change the world. Harriet Tubman said that. We know her as an abolitionist who saved the lives of some 70 people. Well, my celebrated guest today is an accomplished author, he's an actor, and he's also an athlete. You may have seen him on Law and Order, Blue Bloods, The Sopranos, and he recently has just come off the set of Creed 2. I can't wait to ask him questions about that. He's a former martial arts karate fighter. Randy was a world championship sparring partner with the likes of Hector Camacho and Roberto Duran. His 2 published books, Jade and Jade 2, can be found not only in Barnes & Noble, but in the Paterson Museum, where he was recently honored. I'm talking about Paterson's own Randy DiOrio. Welcome, Randy.
How are you?
Is this like, this is your life?
Yes. Wow.
How exciting. I'm so happy to...
I was waiting to meet the guy you were talking about.
It's definitely you. Last time I saw you was on the red carpet. It's been far too long.
It's been far too
long. I have
long.
to ask you, now, what is this I hear about you being on the cover of a magazine? This is exciting.
Joseph Bennett. He runs Talent Raiders, editor-in-chief, and Talent Raiders is a beautiful magazine. I'm going to be on the cover of the July issue. Hector Camacho Jr. was actually on the cover of the April
Really?
edition.
So, and now you're
yes, Joseph Bennett's magazine is amazing.
I can't wait. Where can people find that?
Well, they're going to, it's actually where magazines are sold and online. And
Excellent.
if you go on my Facebook page, Randy DiOrio, you'll see I promote it. I repost the links.
Now, I have to say that this is a man who beat the streets. And Randy is so kind. And part of what makes him so kind is his empathy with others, which is what attracted me to him, in addition to all his talent. Randy said he would not mind sharing his story about foster care. And that's so significant. You originally were born in Chicago. How did you end up at age 12 on the streets in Paterson alone?
Well, I was born in Chicago, Illinois. My father was a very wealthy businessman. He owned the hotel that I was born in. My mom was much younger, and she was on her way to Hollywood to fulfill her dreams of being an actress. Ironically, I found that out not too long ago. And she worked for him, and he was already married and had a family. And however, so she took me back to Paterson, and my mom was a great woman, but she had a very, very tough life, and she had alcohol problems. And
single mom,
and the way her life went. And she had a good heart, beautiful heart, but she just, she was very troubled. And I was taken away from her at the age of 12, September 12th, 1973. I'll never forget that day.
Yes,
and
of course.
From that day to cope with my pain, I watched Bruce Lee and Enter the Dragon and Rocky and movies. I loved movies. I dreamed of being an actor, but I dreamed of being a fighter. So that was my life. That took care of my pain. It gave me significance, and I felt it gave me love because I wanted a father image. My trainer would be my father. People would give me attention and love, and so I found significance in that.
That is it. Now, you were in foster care.
Yes.
And I have to say that even though many people with the best of intentions, foster care is still not working. There are at the moment 420,000 children who are in foster care. I would be remiss if I did not discuss some of the situations. And I'd like your input, Randy, as you've been through this, to see how maybe we could help those who may be watching, who know of somebody going through it. And I love the fact that there are so many people who do want to help.
Right.
One of the problems I found are the group homes. Mm-hmm. In group homes.
I've been in several of them.
Okay. Attention not necessarily given to each child?
Well, my bad thing is I was in need of foster parents at the age of 12 to 13. And quality, a good, beautiful home, and parents want a baby. They want a baby to raise. They don't want a 13-year-old kid in a couple of years.
No,
I'm already set in my ways. So with me, there wasn't that great foster family that my sisters wound up having, as they were cute little girls and they had beautiful, God bless them, and I'm happy it was for them.
Right.
Me, I was already a street kid, so I went off from group home to group home to group home, and everything was always temporary. When I got attached to someone, I had to leave. So I found my whole...
Yeah, that was one of the other things I was going to say, from a child who was placed in different homes. What I love about you is your empathy for others. I know of your empathy for animals. We're both animal lovers. But, you know, I would be remiss, as this is the 30th anniversary of the year for foster children.
Wow.
And there are currently 420,000 children in foster care. And you beat the streets, Randy. So what I'd like to do is find out from you how you ended up with only your belongings in a bag on the streets of Paterson at age 12.
Well, being a 12-year-old boy, when I lost my mom, you know, years later I found out she had passed away just a few years after, but I wasn't like the number one kid to get as a foster child. You know, foster parents like little babies that they can raise, and I was already a 12-year-old boy. My sisters were fortunate enough; they were, you know, cute little babies, and they had very, very good, strong, very great upbringing and a secure family. As for me, I was shifted from foster home to foster home. Everything was temporary, group homes and things like that, and I started living in my own head, my own fantasies, my own
imagination,
and a lot of it had to do with the museum, which is, ironically, I would be inducted there, and it wasn't planned that way.
Right.
So one of the messages I want to get out is that I had these dreams. It's very important to have dreams, very important to believe that you can achieve these dreams, have your self-worth, and these dreams and this inspiration had me go forward without anger in my heart.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. One of the things you touch upon, of course, too, is we all need hope. If you take away hope from anyone, that's the end of it for that person.
You got to keep...
no matter what it is. All right, let's talk a little bit about the foster homes. And again, there are people who have excellent intentions, and there are people who do a wonderful job, but perhaps we need more people who are trained in that particular field.
Yes.
You mentioned how in a group home, you mentioned that there's a lot of attention given to little children. What about the child who's taken from home to home to home?
Culture shock.
Yes, and you are looking for that place where you can relax a little bit.
Right.
And I, as a former educational teacher, seeing kids who are leaving one school for another and just getting friends and finding yourself and being comfortable is extremely difficult. I think we need more parental advocates. We also need to know the needs of children and jump in wherever you'd like to.
Well, you know, you're so right, and I agree with everything you're saying. In my case, culture shock. You're here, you get attached to these people, then your caseworker says you're going to be leaving Thursday, and they're supposed to be my family, but I'm leaving Thursday, and then you go to another place. So then you don't want to get too caught up. But for me, I had this imagination that I was in this movie. I imagined it was all some type of movie, and each one was a new adventure. I played this own little...
That's what saved you.
It saved me, my imagination.
Saved you.
I says, I'm in this adventure where I'm going to be with different people and different episodes.
And that was your escapism.
Even now I do things like that.
I have to tell you that it's interesting that a lot of people think either you're adopted or you're in a group home. And that's not the case. For many children, they want to be reconnected and reunified with their family.
Right.
And there may be a reason of no money. It may be some other reason that can be rectified. But 1 out of every 5 children will become homeless. 1 out of every 4 will become arrested.
Right,
so we need to know more about that.
These children need, when they get into a home, as we all know as human beings, we're all human beings, and you want to have a family that you love and that loves you and that you feel secure and that you're not going anywhere. And when you don't have that, and I never had that feeling. I didn't. You know, I had some really nice, good foster parents.
But you didn't have that?
And no, I didn't have that. And a lot of it was my fault also, because I didn't go in that direction anymore. I gave up on it.
Not your fault. It's what you are conditioned for. I think what a lot of children do is protect themselves.
Right.
Why should I invest?
Subconsciously.
Why should I invest my
Right.
heart and soul if I'm just going to get kicked out?
Right, right.
And I think that's what happens to so many. And that's why I think more training should be involved. It's interesting that the cost of putting a child in a group home is actually more than putting a child in a home.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah,
Most children aren't as lucky and as fortunate enough as I was to be able to have that
yeah, well, let's
way
talk
about
about
me.
this. You got involved with, I believe, YMCA,
Yeah.
and then Dr. Joseph
Dr. Joe
Fulmore
Fulmore
and
in
his wife,
Virginia,
Virginia. You have to share a
Well,
little bit about
they
that.
took me in. It was a group foster home, and the thing was, everybody was so sweet and beautiful, and we're all going. We're a family. I had the complex because I was the only white one there.
Okay.
So now you have 11 people that are black, you're white, and sometimes you don't feel like you belong. So that was my complex. And so I constantly fought them over and over, and hey, they don't love me, you know. But they
You're testing
constantly
them. You're
showed that they
constantly
loved me
testing.
and that I was family. So they won me over. And still in my life to this day.
I saw recently on Facebook, Virginia Fulmore was saying, give us a rough time there, but
Yeah.
look how you turned out.
Yeah.
Oh, is she proud of you?
And when Dr. Joe Fulmore was at the induction for my, you know, and then I was at his ceremony where he was honored too.
Oh, beautiful.
And one more thing I'd want to,
Sure.
Madeline LaMontanaro took me in 1976, and
Look how many people loved you.
yeah, she later on married Ralph Piccolo. His nephew was
Oh,
Brian Piccolo
is
from
right.
Brian's Song. He recently
Which I
passed
taught
away last
my
month.
first year of teaching.
Yeah, Brian's Song.
Look
you
how
know,
we're connected.
and so they
Unbelievable.
her children, who are my brothers and sisters, Tammy LaMontanaro and
Oh, my
and
gosh.
Sandra and Avis and you know, Johnny and Anthony and Maria, God rest her soul, she passed away. You know, they're
all part
great
of your
brothers and
family.
sisters.
Well,
and
they did right. They did right.
I've been lucky, Gail. You know, all the unfortunate things that happen have been offset by people like Renee Page,
Yeah.
Barbara
of. Who we're
Barr,
going to meet later on.
you know, Letha Perrant,
Right.
and everybody.
Okay, I have so much to
I know,
ask.
I know.
I'm
We're-
so
I-
excited.
and I don't want to ramble too
We
much.
haven't seen each other in a while.
Yeah.
Okay, now, boxing. Okay, I know in 1986, I understand that you won, but I have to ask it. What did this teach you? What did you learn from it?
Well, I was an amateur boxer with a record of 21-5, an award winner in the Diamond Gloves. I had a brief pro career of 6 wins, 2 decision losses, 1 draw, 5 KOs, and a full contact karate record of 109 wins against 19 losses. I was a sparring partner for 8 different world champions. The 2 movies that changed my whole life,
Yes.
Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon, you know,
Right.
Sylvester Stallone, and I told Stallone this on set last Thursday, and he
couldn't
I'm not going to say he was
believe it.
almost in tears, but he was like, he looked at me like,
He
wow.
didn't realize the impact.
Yeah,
All right.
you know.
You said if I could have done more in boxing,
Yeah.
but my emotions got in the way. What did you mean by that?
Well, I had the talent. I know because I was in the ring with 8 world champions, and I sparred and boxed 8
Hector
famous
Camacho,
people.
Roberto Duran.
So I had the talent, no doubt.
You had that.
And I wish I could have gone further. However, because of my upbringing, I was I was intellectually intelligent, but emotionally very, very, very immature emotionally, maybe.
Understandable.
And underdeveloped.
Understandable,
So
sure.
a doctor even told me that's why I look a lot younger for my age, because of mind-body connection, because I think younger.
Isn't that interesting?
And so I kind of look younger than what I am.
But we like that part. We
Yeah,
want
I'll
you
take that part.
We
And you know
want
what?
you to keep that.
I'm still a kid.
You know, I believe there's a difference between childish and childlike. And you have that childlike innocence.
Yeah.
Don't lose it.
No.
Because that's what attracts people to you. And look how you look at the world
Yeah.
through your eyes.
Gratitude.
Yeah, it's gratitude, it's hope, but it's also I can't wait to take the next step to see what, and I feel it from you. All right.
Thank you.
What an honor. No, thank you. What an honor to be inducted into the Paterson Museum.
Ooh.
Lou Costello and his daughter was there. You have your boxing gloves. You had pictures. You have the books, Jade 1 and Jade 2.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's
Well,
exciting.
I knew a lot of politicians in Paterson, and I knew the director of the Paterson, Giacomo Di Stefano.
Okay.
He's the director of the museum.
love that name,
And Bruce
Giacomo.
Belisari, he's the curator.
I'm going to Stefano.
I would visit the museum, and I would use the legends in the museum to motivate myself.
Look at that.
And then I remember a while back they said that they created a file on me, which I didn't know what that was, or didn't even, whatever that is. And then it started to be where because my love for Paterson. See, people come and go in your life, but the falls, the castle, the city would stay there. I can always count on it. I always made Paterson, she was my friend. Right. She was my friend. I was alone in the streets, but she was taking care of me.
Oh, beautiful.
And I knew the people I loved were there. Paterson, the perimeter, even though it's a very, very tough city, it has its mean ghetto parts.
Okay.
It has its, but it has its beautiful parts and the beautiful people. Everybody, if you get to know everybody, the surroundings don't matter. But
and they all knew you.
Beautiful. I mean, I was born in Chicago. Chicago is famous enough. We don't have to promote Chicago.
But you're a Paterson.
But Paterson with
is
the
that
falls and the
Patersonite?
castle.
Is that correct? You're a Patersonite?
I guess a Pattersonian they would call it.
Pattersonian, okay.
And even that's my mother's hometown.
So that means so much to you. Now, I had to touch upon a little bit with the books. I brought Jaded 2 and, of course, Jaded 1. Mm-hmm. Very powerful book. In the first one, we meet Alicia Durant,
right,
and we see of her relationship getting involved with the wrong people,
right,
the relationship with the men, but we also see too that the courts also, she was hurt by them.
She sure was.
And then in Jade 2, Pandora's Box, we have another incredible incident,
right,
and she never stops trusting people. I will say that I'm happy with the ending of it, but I have to ask you a couple of questions with that. And one being, why did you feel compelled to share the story? By the way, Alicia Durant is not her real name.
No.
But why did you feel compelled to write it?
It was all her idea. She wanted to write an autobiography, and we kept talking about it, collaborating, and then I decided, and she decided that I would be the author because I know of her life.
Right.
And I could, and she trusted my input as far as taking something and turn it around to create, to sometimes create some sympathy that is just too deserving.
Correct.
But, and I lived a lot of it with her. Jaded 1, half the story of the Jaded 1, I actually was there living it. The entire Jaded 2, I was involved with. So she is the subject matter, telling the story the way she wants it. She did the poetry and the design for the book cover.
Yes, she's an artist.
Yeah, she's an artist.
She was a weaver, pottery.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Incredible
and she ran with the Bon Jovi band.
Yeah.
She was on MTV with them when they won their award.
She was going with one of the drummers or somebody from there?
Bass player Alec.
I remember reading
she was
that.
engaged to the bass player.
Yeah.
And then, the second book basically touches on her being a mother and fighting to clear her name, and also to keep her child off medication. Like this day and age, they give kids medication for everything.
I think it was incredible that you said there was something like 18 different medicines.
Well, let's put it this way. 70% of the medications that are on the market weren't around 15 years ago.
Right.
So doctors are basically, many doctors, I'm not speaking to all doctors, but many are getting their education from pharmaceutical companies that have an agenda.
And trying. Today you have parents who do not give their children.
Anybody right now can go to a psychiatrist and say, "Hey, how you doing? I got problems," and you're going to get written a prescription, several prescriptions, and everybody's on so many different medications.
It's easier to medicate, but what she found is that she wanted to go to the underlying problem, as opposed to just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
What did you learn from the book? Or the experience?
The whole experience, I learned that, you have to look out for, you have to watch everything and look out for the people you love, and you have to fight hard, and you have to believe, and you have to not take someone's, whatever they say up front, like if a doctor says this or that. She fought the doctors. She fought the courts. She fought.
I think today we are questioning more. But I think 18 years ago when this took place...
Well, she was, in Jaded 1, she was a young stripper, pretty young girl. Everybody wanted to use her, and a lot of pretty girls can identify with that. And she found herself in a jam. Jaded 2, she's a seasoned woman that loves her child, and she's no more quote-unquote dumb blonde in the videos of Bon Jovi. Now she's fighting for her child that she loves, and she's a mother. Less focus on herself, more focus on being a mother, homeschooling, her art, And she lives right now a quiet life in Paterson, New Jersey, with her daughter.
That. Will it be a J3 or no?
There possibly could be. There
Okay.
possibly could be.
All right. Erica John, who, if you remember from Fear of Flying, she said the following, and I'd like you to hear this, Randy, and apply it to your craft, if you will. Everyone has talent. What is rare is the courage to follow that talent to the dark place where it leads. Perfect for acting?
Yes. We sometimes they say be careful what you wish for, or we all have these dreams of what we want to do, and we get afraid. We're afraid. We're afraid of change. Can I do it? But what if I do it? And other people do it, but and you basically have to just follow your gut, and you have to have reasons. See, you can want something and necessarily not get it, but if you have the right reasons, you can get the right answers. My particular reason...
Wait, say that again. I love that. Say that part again. If you have the right...
You have to have the right reasons.
The right
You'll
reasons.
get the right answers.
Okay.
And you'll get the, the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of value you add to others.
Okay. And I think it's also to have the right questions. We can all come up with answers.
Your brain's like a computer.
Do we have the right questions to ask of ourselves?
Right.
So has this led you to a dark place?
No. It's led me from a dark place.
From a dark place.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about your filmography. IMDb. So many people. I know what it stands for. I have an IMDb.
Yeah.
But tell everybody what an IMDb is.
IMDb stands for Internet Movie Database. Internet Movie Database. Whenever you Google a famous person, you'll see IMDb, and that's their Internet Movie Database. You click on it, and there's several categories. There's your acting category. There's your producing or directing. Self-credits are when you do things like this. Television shows. Some television shows will give you the credits, some won't.
Right.
There's miscellaneous. I have miscellaneous credits from Sopranos location, etc.
Right.
Writing credits.
Okay.
There's archive footage if somebody shows one of your films on TV. There's so many different categories. But what happens is when you're in a movie, they usually put you on, like in this case, Creed put me now, my newest IMDb credit.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to ask somebody to put it in, and sometimes
I just want
you
to
don't
clear that up because people say, "I am what?"
I know. Well, it looks weird. It looks weird when it's written.
Strange, but if you think it's
very
an acronym
important.
for. All right. So your first commercial, or your first TV, or your first movie, share something that was different and that. Well, was there anything funny?
I did Jiffy Lube commercial, which was.
I think I saw it. Did I see that?
I think it was filmed in middle Jersey. It was showed on the Eat Me TV or something.
Right.
It was an episode of Gilligan's Island. And Tina Louise. Incidentally, I worked with Tina Louise on Tapestry.
You wrote Tapestry, and I know that you wrote.
I didn't write Tapestry.
No, you acted with Stephen Baldwin. In that particular movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah, no, I give you. I gotta say something about you. The way the in-depth the research you do on your show and how you. Because
respect for
so many things that I did, so for you to try to actually compartmentalize everything, that's why I try not to talk too much. But you're something else. God bless you.
But anyway,
I couldn't do your job.
I love that. But let's go back to this.
Yes.
So you did the Jiffy Lube. What is your first TV show that you actually did? Was it this? It was.
Oh, it was. No, it was a film actually.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Yeah, I'm thinking. It was TV show.
There was Law and Order. I was a court reporter in Law and Order.
I did Law and Order. I had so much fun on those.
Yeah.
Sets.
Oh yeah. There was.
We had
got
so
to work
much
with
fun.
Elizabeth Rahman and Dennis Farina.
Right.
But then it was Fight the Panda Syndicate and Revenge of the Panda Syndicate with Jason Dale and the whole crew there.
You're smart. I met
some.
It had to be
in
so
this
much
whole
fun.
adventure, I met so many beautiful people.
So much fun. All right, producing a movie, and I know you co-produce and you're producing a movie. How does one get that into distribution? People think you have the movie and that's it. No.
You need money. So often we need investors. Investors require an executive summary. They have their protocol. We're fortunate enough to have Alan Bailey in the Red Velvet Entertainment. Alan Bailey is a former senior vice president in charge of finance at Paramount Pictures. He was in charge for the distribution of Titanic, Saving Private Ryan, Transformers, Godfather trilogy, Forrest Gump, etc. Wow. He's on our team for distribution for the Godlins.
Unbelievable. So, okay, you mentioned Godlins. Let's talk a little bit about
Godlins. First of all, we want you for the Godlins. We want actress Renee Page for the Godlins. We want Joseph Bennett from Talent Raiders magazine in the Godlands, and
that's
several
gonna
more.
be so
we're
wonderful. I'm
we're
so
also
excited about
considering
that.
Scarlett Johansson,
Wow.
and it's a huge picture. Writer Sergio Candido, director Sergio Candido, executive producer Carl Cifaldi. I'm an associate producer on there.
Okay.
I also will play a police officer.
Oh,
We'll have
nice.
toys, action figures. It'll be filmed on Corrado Farms. And
Where is Corrado Farms? I was
Corrado
looking
Farms
that up.
is
Is
in
that-
North Jersey. It's a
Okay, it's in
beautiful
New
farm. We're
Jersey.
filming
Okay.
Paraseekers on that farm right now.
Mm-hmm.
Paranormal investigations. Again, director Sergio Candido. Carl Cifaldi's doing scenes, and there's so many involved. His daughter Laura
I'm
Cifaldi.
excited. I can't wait to tell you all about it.
Laura Cifaldi should be on the show one day. She's an amazing psychic.
Oh, that's going to be so
And Teresa
exciting.
Theron.
All right, so I would like to know a little bit about the right to live, because now you're playing a villain.
Yeah.
And I can't. First question is this: is it easier to play a villain than it is to play a nice guy?
No, it's the same.
It
You
is the
left
same.
hand, right hand. I'm reaching for someone
Really?
right hand, left hand.
How do you get into that?
I was a little uncomfortable about the right to live because I was there was
I knew it.
physical, mental, verbal, there was sexual abuse, there was
Abuse.
everything.
Okay.
I played
Randy.
Jake Connor.
I have to ask you about Creed 2. You have been on set 16 plus hour days, 90 something hours.
130.
100. When I last counted, it was 90 something. I was following you. And what an exciting thing. Now, your training in boxing helped you in this?
No,
No,
because
no.
I didn't play a boxer. However, when I
Okay.
got there on set, the big Russian fighter Dolph Lundgren's son,
Right.
the who's a wonderful actor.
Okay.
I believe his name is Florian Montua.
All right.
He's a real fighter, and he's a really nice person. And Michael B. Jordan, the star, we know
Right.
him from
From
Black
Black
Panther
Panther, right.
and Creed 1. Incredible guy.
Right, he
They're
was the
all
son,
incredible.
right. He
But
was
for
the
me
son.
to meet Dolph Lundgren and work with Brigitte Nielsen and work with these people from Rocky IV, and finally to meet Stallone, and I told him how, I grew up 42 years watching you,
Unbelievable.
But a lot of the trainers knew me, so in the beginning they allowed me to warm up the Russian fighter in the back.
Okay, so it
You know?
does
And
help.
there's me trying to steal IMDb credits and getting choreography, but they're like, no, you can't be. We already have this But I got to work with him on the mitts, so I'm warming up the Russian Drago Jr.
Unbelievable.
And it was amazing to be at Sun Center Studios, an $85 million facility, on a $40 million plus film, blockbuster Hollywood, and associated with New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers, MGM, Stallone. It had it all. And I was right there in the center of the action
But
there.
you see, you never know what
Yeah.
one thing is going to lead to another.
Exactly.
What I like about you is you're willing to step outside the box.
Right.
And try new things. And I think you hit on it before.
But I'm also willing to go the next day if there's another project that's not going to be this big multi-million dollar release star.
And do that one too.
And where I got to maybe sweep up the floor a little bit. And,
I love that.
Get the little.
Love that.
I mean, I can go just like as a child. I lived in a basement apartment in the middle of the ghetto, sleeping on the floor. I lived in mansion in Saddle River.
Isn't
I
that
mean,
incredible?
You
can
I eat
adapt
steak or
to
I eat
different,
potato chips.
And
I
you
mean,
adapt to different situations.
Yes.
But this stepping outside the box, this idea of trying something new and not knowing where it leads, a lot of people are afraid. They
Right.
stay where they are most comfortable.
I know.
You don't do that.
No, because I was in a boxing ring where in 10 minutes I'm
think
going
he's
in the
gonna
ring.
hit me soon.
No, I 10 minutes from now, I'm going we got our Rocky
It's
credits
doing
there.
this, it's doing
No, but no, I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm too
Now,
sore and
you
tired.
know I have a
But-
boxing. I told you I have
Yeah.
a boxing bed in my garage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
but what it's like I knew how it feels to go into a boxing ring and to face a big strong man who wants to take your head off. So in acting or interviews or anything, I know that's not going to happen. So anything short of that, you try new things. Don't be afraid of failure. Get
Beautiful.
out there. I'd rather fail at something because it's never. I failed at getting into Creed 1. And I know how I failed, and I was determined to get into Creed 2. And look how I got into Creed 2. I got into Creed 2.
Amazing.
There's a lot of things I failed, and I didn't look at them as failures. I looked at them
You
as
learning
lessons.
Beautiful.
And one of the things is whatever you want, give, and remember, and keep going.
I love that. That's
You
the
know?
best advice.
There are little children that inspire me. There are little children that have cancer and that can't walk and bone diseases and they can't even play with other kids. They have nothing but a childhood of pain. You think about those, and then you think about
So
how
true.
lucky you are,
That's so true.
and you think about going forward, and so maybe
And take all of these
Yeah.
as lessons
Yeah.
and grow from it
Yeah.
and give back to others, which
Giving
you
back.
tremendously. You do that.
because I want to be remembered. This is all like written for my obituary. My IMDs, I always say, is like my obituary. That I'm not going to be here,
This will
forever.
be your legacy.
Yeah, my legacy.
This is going to
and
be
and
your
when I'm
legacy.
gone, a kid
Yeah.
can say, "Oh, there's, Lou Costello and Larry Doby and the guy who invented the submarines." And then there's Randy Diorio. He actually
did
walked.
this? He
He
did
walked
great.
these streets here, and he did a little something. And I want to do
meditates
more and
in the
more, so I could leave more
and
and more
meditates
behind.
in the graveyard, and I get that.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
other
yeah. I
thing,
called you
too-
from there.
The other thing too
Sure.
is that if you watch children,
Yeah.
you want to become a good actor.
Yeah.
Watch kids.
Yeah.
Natural, study them, their movements, and animals. All right, the brawler.
Oh, American
The
Brawler.
The American Brawler,
Yeah.
also known as what? The 15 rounds?
Yeah, they named it 15 rounds. How I worked with Ken
Interesting.
Kushner on that. I'm an associate producer because I got the gym space. I became a boxing consultant to Emmy Award winner Joe Pantoliano. Working with Zach McGowan, working with Ken Kushner.
Can we show a little clip of that, do you think?
Oriana. Yeah, sure.
That was Oriana.
I play the corner man. I
That
played
was Oriana. Let's say her last name. I know
Oriana
Oriana.
D'Agostino?
I know Oriana. So let's
Yeah,
include her
I know
last
you
name.
do.
I don't want to leave anybody out.
No.
But let's take a quick look at that, shall we?
Sure.
Some guys are all about the drink. Some guys like to brawl. Some guys, they like all that shit. Me? I'm one of those guys.
Keep your fucking mitts up. Use them to block the punches instead of your fucking face.
You don't win big fights. You never win.
You're not gonna go in there and knock him out. This is Muhammad Ali.
This was the biggest fight of my life, where fate would decide if I became a legend or just another kid from Bayonne.
Who thinks this is for real? Watching you fight just gave me that little, push.
The plea papers in front of me provide that you are sentenced up to 10 years in state prison.
What are you doing here? You see this guy here? This guy here was the inspiration for us. Rocky was my idea. He had no role whatsoever. He was inspiration, that's it.
All right, Randy, you have to introduce this beautiful woman who is sitting over here
Yes,
that we're going to
indeed.
have come on. Tell us a little bit about her.
Her name is
And-
Renee Page. Actually, she just got off the set of The Irishman, and she's a writer for a magazine. And sure. Have a seat.
Let's move ourselves a little closer.
Thank you.
Hi, Renee.
Hi, how are you,
We
Gail?
just met today, and we
Yes,
hit
we
it off
did.
already, right?
Yes.
So
Thank
tell
you
a
for
little
having
bit
me.
about.
Renee and I met at a meeting for the film Good Friday with Sal Ranella. We became friends.
Oh, I was in that.
Yeah, well,
Did
yeah.
you know that?
I'm an associate producer on that, of
For
course.
heaven's sake. I was just one of the extras.
We're all
We're
related. We were also
We're all-
connected through Familia too. Remember
Yes,
Familia?
of
Yeah.
course, the familiar.
So,
yes.
but and we became friends, and she's a real sweetheart. She looks out for me and tries to do whatever she can to help me, and vice versa. She's a writer for a magazine in Saddle River.
yeah, tell us about the magazine.
Oh, the magazine is owned by Mr. Aaron Klein, and it's basically I do covers, and I have a my own little blog, Good Day Renee.
Oh, I like
and
that.
I like to do very positive stories. I just did Mary Higgins Clark.
Oh, okay.
And
excellent.
I just keep it positive and
I love
the
that.
energy up, and just
Love
all
it.
things good. That's what I'm about.
That's what the show
Yeah.
is about, looking to
Yeah.
make a difference in the lives of
I-
others.
that's
it.
right.
All right, Randy, what haven't I asked you?
Oh, well,
Would you like to come a little closer?
yeah. Can I
Roll-
get in the, maybe
roll
get in the
close
middle
here.
over here?
Sure, sure.
Okay, I get
So,
in the middle of these
yes,
two pretty
yes.
ladies right
There
here.
you go.
No, basically, I'm working on Power Seekers now, Paranormal, directed by Sergio Candido. And then we have The Godlands coming up. I'm anticipating the release of Creed 2, Sylvester
that
Stallone, Michael B.
magazine
Jordan.
again, the other-
Oh, yeah. Joseph Bennett, Talent Raiders magazine. It'll be my first time appearing on that wonderful cover of that beautiful magazine.
I can't wait to see that.
And you guys, you can look it up online. Talent Raiders magazine. Hector Camacho Jr. is actually in this issue in April. And that's about it right now.